in to another episode of Untold Stories, a weekly D&D campaign set in the world of Elvoria. We're back with these wonderful humans to roll some dice, do some bad accents, and tell, hopefully, a decent story. If you want to check out the classes being used by the majority of the party, links are in the description below for the Reimagined series with the Barbarian, Ranger, Sorcerer, and Fighter. But enjoy them nonetheless. Watching these lot break the stuff that I built. But with that out of the way, let's continue our story in San Roy Car. You have just entered into the Blue Horn Tavern after a day of travel where you acquired some honey, pissed off some hornets, met a friendly turtle, and came across a religious expression, speech in the town of San Roy Car as the rain was descending. But you have entered into the Blue Horn Tavern, which is fairly empty. A couple of tables have some individuals on, a group kind of at the back. Relatively near the doorway, you see a pair, what looks like a gnome and a gold dragonborn, kind of chatting away. First thing you notice about this bar is it has multiple bars. It is one giant tavern with multiple bars and dozens of tables and spaces for people to drink alcohol. It looks like this is the only tavern in town, and therefore it caters to a lot of people.
Alright, let's get ourselves seated by the fire so we can all dry off. We'll get you some ponchos in the morning to protect your stilts, Lesley.
Do they have ponchos in purple?
Pardon?
Lesley, do they have ponchos in purple? I can't. Purple.
Are you stealing mine now?
Yeah, I'm stealing yours about purple.
I don't know what they have. Do you want me to start doing your auction now and you can follow that for a bit?
Maybe. I'm really ruined for the last session.
Victory.
Alright.
If I can't do accents, no one can.
You did the accent that is the equivalent of fucking herpes in accents. It just spreads.
Hey, bargum. Hey, bargum. Bargum. Tell them all about that. That's what you go.
Some
Hey,
people
Bagum, it's Lesley.
Hey, bargum. It's Lesley. Hey up, Lesley. There you go. Hey up.
Hey, thank you. That was quite helpful. It did help.
There you go. It's all right. It's all right, Duck. Duck's not a Yorkshire. Anyway.
We can cut that.
Yeah. What do we need to? Didn't Abe say this was supposed to be I've actually met one. Scotland. Didn't Abe say this was supposed to be like a crazy house? Pretty quiet in here.
Yes, however, the entire town seems to be listening to that DMsGuild upstairs.
You'd have thought it'd still be busy here, though.
Seem like a lot less people than you'd expect.
Did it feel like the amount of people up there listening to him was the town?
Pretty much. Beyond the scatterings of people that you spotted, like the stable hand who kind of couldn't leave his job and the scale guard who couldn't leave their post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on the amount of people up there, the entire town is listening to that madman.
Ridiculous.
Is there even a barkeep in here?
Yeah, there's a fair few barkeeps. There seems to be 3 of the 5 bars that you look around that seem to be open. Well, you guess 5. You can see 3 bars. It kind of curves around. That there appear to be people on. And they are chatting away as bar staff tend to do when they're not busy behind the bar.
doing shots.
I know this is very like fun and high fantasy, but I'm just seeing like a motorway service station. I'm just gonna make my way over to KFC. I mean, bar number 3.
Yeah, standing behind it is it's a half-elf gentleman with a bit of scruff, not like a full beard, but like just enough that he kind of pulls it off. Chatting to a human woman. It appears to be that most bars seem to have a male-female pair going around. All right.
Yeah, can I get 6 pints of whatever's good and vaguely cold?
Yeah, sure.
One.
Pint of wine, I guess. 1.
Sure. If you're paying.
Aderyn, you want wine?
Aderyn's just kind of like lost in her thoughts a little bit. She's just like standing still, very quiet.
She'll probably want wine. 2 pints of wine and 4 pints of not that.
Right. Okay. You. All right. He
While
turns
that's
around.
happening, I walk up next to Ximori and just go, rather than the pints of wine, could we have 2 bottles of wine, 3 pints, and 3 glasses? And I put down 5 gold on the table and say, anything more, let me know.
I'll do it for your first round.
Thank
Wait,
you.
so
Ximori.
you don't do wine in pints? Is that not a thing?
It's not, no.
Okay. Well, thanks for that then. I probably would have... I imagine that they would have charged me quite a lot for putting wine into a pint, right?
More than likely. Plus, we don't need those two getting too drunk straight off the bat. We know what they're like in the normal place.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
We've been drinking wine all day. What makes you think we're not already drunk?
It's a constant.
Aderyn
road
just
wine.
staring off into the middle distance.
Oh, and actually, 1 less pint and 1 fruit juice of some sort.
Or milk. That is a very good point. I forgot about Balrick.
Something non-alcoholic.
I'm glad
but-
you remembered. I was going to
but,
bring it
you
up.
know,
I
big.
can't.
Actually, make it a pint and a half. Something, you know, big.
He
Sure.
also looks small in his one hand.
The woman kind of turns around and goes, who's got some pumpkin juice left over?
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah. Goes around, goes and finds a
It's
jug.
probably fine.
It's got pulp in.
That's fine. That's the good bits.
But
And he's got teeth anyway, he can strain it.
slides it across. Meanwhile, the guy underneath, like shouts up. He's like looking like at a wine rack. He just like turns around. And he's like, "Any particular kind?"
Red.
1 red, 1 rosé.
Okay. He pulls out, looks at them, puts them in front. They're not chilled.
Red's not meant to be chilled anyway.
Rosé is.
I'm not saying it isn't.
Depends on the red.
Yeah. I think 5. Yeah.
Trust me, there'll probably be more to come, so don't worry too much.
Keep it going.
Have you got rooms for the night?
No, this place doesn't have rooms.
Ah,
Go to
okay.
tavern. If you're looking for a place to stay, head down to Westview, bottom of the hill.
All right then.
What's his name? Crowl? Yeah, Crowl. It's Crowl, right? Yeah, mate? Yeah, it's Crowl. He's a dick, but you'll get a room at least.
That's fine. We'll have some drinks among pleasurable company then, and then head our way off to find somewhere to put our heads down.
Get yourself a table. It won't be too long before everyone's in.
Cheers. And I'll scoop up, like, it's like holding like wine bottles so that they are just like clanking together. Like,
They don't break.
I grabbed the
trying to
pint
do that
glasses.
thing of try to do that thing of like holding when you've got too many like vague things that then don't quite work out together.
Yeah.
So I've got like pints just like by the ring fingers, just like yeah. I get over to the table. It's fine getting to the table. It's putting the stuff down at the other end that's the problem.
Tauri helps get everything off his hands. Started with the pint and a half of pumpkin juice, because that's probably one of the most annoying things.
So
Well,
they're
probably
like
that-
some sort of alcoholic buckaroo.
And it's probably in that like one of those cups that's just slightly too big for one hand.
I'm thinking a pint and a half is quite a weird volume, so they probably put it in like a vase.
Oh, it's a pitcher. It's just a straight
Oh,
pitcher.
okay. Oh, fine.
Picture of pumpkin juice.
You're on
Mute
mute,
it,
Chris.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, here you go, Balrick. Pumpkin juice. It's alcoholic. It's not alcoholic. That's the one.
It's alcoholic free.
It's no alcoholics in there.
There are no alcoholics in there at all, as far as I'm aware.
I appreciate that. I would have been fine with water. You didn't have to like him, but alright.
Tauri,
Yeah, you try to do something nice for people.
as you head back to the table, you pass by that pair that you saw as you came in originally, and you just over here, like snip into their conversation and walk past, and just like, can't leave tonight and raise suspicion anyway. Like, trust me, the cart's fine. No one's gonna look in around the cart. Just chill.
Cart.
All
Okay.
right. There's a just snip it on the walk past or something.
Just get back to the table.
Right,
Keep,
Togrim, point for you.
You. We're getting food in this place as well.
Oh, I didn't think about food.
Let's start with the wine and alcohol.
We'll get food later.
And we can get food later.
Not
Maybe
exactly.
we get food where we stay for the night.
I will say you did notice that, so as I say, it's kind of like a horseshoe shaped tavern, but with like a slightly thicker middle kind of thing. You notice in that kind of thicker middle, in like the nook of the sea, there is like a large fireplace with spits on and like a couple of pots, that kind of thing. So it does look like they do food here, but it's very much like mass cook.
In the centre where the Costa would be.
Yeah. You got it.
So, that was a bit fucking weird out there, wasn't it?
Very odd. While that's happening, I'm keeping an ear to the table over there.
Roll perception.
Um, 15.
Go. We'll circle back to it.
Like, I reckon we just go to bed early, wake up early, get out of here. It's obviously not a place that's going to be very welcoming, but do what we can. Do our business here. Get going. Right?
Yeah. No point sticking around.
Do we have anything we wanted to buy? At the shops or anything?
Hey, we'll get. Lesley needs a raincoat.
Ah,
Yeah.
We were next to a
I can't-
fireplace with one of these like spits sort of things, but with just silks behind it,
Dipping into the flames.
trying to dry up.
Get a smoky effect.
Canopy would do good on the cart as well.
If we can get something for the car.
So yeah, we need what? Two raincoats for the peacock and Aderyn. Some sort of tarp to put over the top of everything for a cover.
Even I'm getting to the point where we're getting a bit wet every time.
Does it make sense for us to see if we can find a carpenter of some kind to make the cart a bit more waterproof? Give it a roof.
That's what they're saying. To get a cover.
Yes, but if we just put a cover over the top of it, unless we get the wood to support it and such, then we can't actually sit in the back.
Well, I mean, if we get the wood anyway, then I'm sure Togrim and us can probably figure it out on the
Put
road.
something together. Yeah.
No need to stick around this place too long. I shoot a look at Aderyn.
We'll have
Worried
better
about
luck
our
in a
fellow
larger
party
town.
member, are we?
Hmm?
Ximori, worried about our fellow party member?
Well, I mean,
Party. Ooh. I see.
And, you know, not everyone's as accepting as I am. I'm a very tolerant person.
I snort into my wine.
And it's not just any one of us that's in trouble if the town finds out. There's a couple of us that have you know, some unpleasant stuff about us according to these folk. I bet
Yeah.
even the legality Tauri won't hold much stock with how they're going along with it.
Yes, well, zealots always have a way of ignoring the rules.
Yeah. So, you know, quietish night, get ourselves all stocked up and ready to go.
Roof, maybe an
Not bad.
extension on the seat so we can have two people out front.
Yeah,
We don't need to go too wild. I think roof is the main thing.
get some wood, get a tarp or something.
Wood and a tarp should be good.
Yeah, a couple of raincoats.
Fashion a roof.
With Aderyn's wood carving skills, I'm sure she'll get it up in a jiff.
Yeah. We
I
can
would
have
Need
some
more,
nice,
more rabbit paws.
have some nice horses on the side. No, bears. No, small girls. That was it. You know the little fun little doll you made with the rabbit's feet.
The
Tabitha.
Tabitha.
You forgotten her already?
No. Oh, I like Tabitha. Sorry, I'm just a bit lost in thought. I could give her a different name if I make another one.
Yeah, they could all be different names, really.
I think let's leave it on the carvings for the moment, maybe.
We need to
Respect
find some-
Tabitha, you know, give her some distance.
You don't like dolls?
No, I'm just saying I respect her a lot, so we need to wait before she gets replaced.
How can you respect her? You killed her.
I just allegation.
We need to go hunting again to get more rabbit's feet.
To be fair, I suppose it depends if you're wanting rabbit's feet. There's probably a butcher in the city.
But I think we're thinking too much deeply into this. Early night, wake up, wagon roof, raincoats. Like we don't need anything else. I don't think we've got rations.
I would,
And
if if someone else can worry about the wood and the tarpaulin, I wouldn't mind trying to find a bookshop, and maybe an armory.
Yeah, I mean, I can probably go find some wood. You and me, Tog.
Yeah.
Go get some walls and tarps and
Yeah, if you guys get the lumber, I reckon me and maybe Lesley and Aderyn can get the tarp, or unless you two have got other plans, we'll get the ring. I'm sure that we'll just go to somewhere that has fabrics and waterproofs. We'll get you some ponchos at the same time.
I mean, you could probably make one of those, right, Balrick? Can't be that hard.
If I get the material, I might be able to put one together, but it'd be better going from a proper tailor.
Oh, yeah.
I could create like a sheet with a hole.
I can sew a little.
Lesley, what's up?
I would never wear a sheet with just a hole in it from you. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Only
Aderyn-
silk sewn by the finest seamstresses in the.
I mean, Aderyn just said they can sew, so
She
I mean,
is.
I
She
can't
can thread a needle.
sew nicely, but I can sew.
So.
Your choice is either not something that isn't silk, or your silks get wet.
Yeah. I'll get the fabric.
Meanwhile, Tauri, what did you roll on perception again? 15.
Yeah.
You pick up again. It's snippets of conversation. People are starting to filter in now. The
Making it
tavern's
harder.
getting a little busier. But you do pick up elements of just like very much the gnome seems to be like trying to calm down the gold dragonborn who seems a little on edge, and a little slower, shall we say. But they're just talking about like a shipment, like it's fine. We'll head out first thing tomorrow. Like, if we leave now, it'd probably draw more attention to us anyway. So just calm down, enjoy your pint, and we'll head off early. If you're really that paranoid, you can go out and check on it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Tauri doesn't know about Aderyn's mind reading abilities, correct?
I don't think she can read minds properly, or is it that she's just telepathic? She might have the spell detect thoughts at some point, but I don't.
It doesn't matter anyway. As far as I'm aware, it's never really come up for Tauri.
You know that she can talk in people's heads because she's
Yes.
done it to you. But that's the extent of it. So you know she's somewhat telepathic, but to what extent?
I do have to tell.
I'm just gonna. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of whisper to Aderyn. Do you think you could listen in to what those two over there? I kind of just gesture with my wine glass slightly. They seem to be talking about a shipment of some kind, and I'm not entirely sure if it's above board, should we say.
Those two? Yes, I've not done it before, but I think I can do it.
Well, based on how well you've done so far, I'm sure it'll be fine. And you get a bardic inspiration as well for the next 10 minutes to use on one thing of your choice.
Cute.
Which two is that, just so we can keep an eye on things, just in case?
Gold Dragonborn behind us, particularly.
Yeah, you look over and you see a gold dragonborn who's kind of wearing like patchwork leathers, bare arms, like showing a few scars here and there, and
Does he have any?
Go.
I was gonna say, does he have any tattoos? Do either of them have any like tattoos?
Roll. Yeah, roll perception. Yeah, the other one while you're rolling that is a gnome. Fairly mundane clothes, like the most discernible element of him, other than like this slick hair that still seems damp from the rain, is like a long brown leather coat that kind of like scrapes the floor.
19.
19. You're kind of looking around, like the two of them, and like the gnome's fairly like clothed up, so you don't really notice anything. But the dragonborn, you do notice like just on the shoulder, you do notice a small kind of inking into their scales of a single link, like chain link.
I will cast Detect Thoughts.
New spell. Second
I already
spell.
have that one. It's not
Level 2.
a new. Yeah, I've never used this one, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just Aderyn.
Andrew and I use detect thoughts all the time, so you immediately get surface level thoughts. Which one are you particularly targeting, dragonborn or gnome? Straight up.
The Dragonborn just looks flashy.
Okay. The immediate surface thoughts you get are kind of anxiety, like nerves about like the atmosphere of the town currently, and thinking about a cart or a wagon that is sitting just outside the tavern.
Okay,
Do you know how to detect all works?
I can detect what they're thinking at the moment.
So you get surface level thoughts for free, essentially. If you want to get like more specific, they roll a wisdom save, and if they succeed on it, they know you're trying to do it. If they fail, you get the extra
So
details.
it's
I'm gonna risk it because I don't have a lot of control over it, so I'm just trying to prod.
Sure.
In.
You've just learned you can do this. Of course, you can be like, whoa!
Whoa! I can't. Like I can
What
talk, but I cannot.
is
Yeah.
your spell save?
My spell save is 13.
13. With a
What's your charisma?
My charisma is +3.
13.
That is a failure. So you get a little deeper, and the specifics are still quite vague. Your immediate element behind this is it's clear that this one is more the muscle, shall we say. He hasn't necessarily been shared the full details of what's going on. What you do get out of it is this individual works for an organisation known as the Chain. They are currently transporting goods to Resmanthal. And the nature of the goods, you don't get exactly what the goods are, but this individual, which you do also get their name at this point, is Reggie, is aware that the goods are not above board, shall we say. Very much don't let individuals who follow the law find out about what's in their wagon. He's done runs like this before, but the air of this town and the recently antagonized anti-magic crowd has got this guy on edge.
Okay, I'm whispering all this to Tauri. You want me to try and go deeper into the thoughts? I think I can.
I think you've gathered a lot at the moment. The choice we have now is, what do we do, if anything?
We ignore them.
Bless you. Bless you.
And we move quietly away.
Maybe we could see what exactly they have in their shipments.
We do not fuck with the Chain.
Do you know them?
Yes, do you?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Everything that goes against the law in the Empire is them.
Okay.
How do they feel about magic?
Opinion is divided. If it's on their side, then great.
Is it like a crime group?
Do
Have
I
I
say that a
heard
little
about
louder
the
to
Chain at
people?
all?
Yeah, the Chain are well known enough. You don't get to be the premier crime syndicate within an empire without anyone involved in business finding out. You've had no interaction with them beyond that, you just know of their
No.
existence.
Is the Chain related to the things that we have?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I will second Ximori's thing of we shouldn't go investigating. That's not safe.
Access to that is a whole lot of trouble we don't need.
At this point, you see the Gold Dragonborn kind of finish his drink and just say a couple of words to the gnome. Gnome's like, alright, don't spend too long out there though. And the Dragonborn kind of turns around and heads towards the door. At which point, before he even reaches it, the door opens and in walks in a collection of individuals in white, grey and black robes. And specifically, a dark-skinned man with facial ring tattoos and cloud white plate armor walks into the tavern.
And things have settled down, I believe. I'd like you to, they say, quietly enough that just the table can hit then.
He kind of looks around. He no longer has the giant fist on his hand. It's a bare hand, no gauntlets or anything like that. In fact,
Oh my god, it's Ram Bear.
Oh my god, he's a werebear.
That is the sound of a DM hurriedly rewriting plot.
It's very much stripped down. Like he was previously in full presentation armor. Now it's much more like a breastplate and shoulder pauldrons still, but the full regalia is kind of taken down. He kind of like
He's got his breast out.
he's got his
We
meat out.
cover people.
Is it like when you get a cast taken off and his hand underneath looks kind of withered and nasty?
Shriveled.
I'm really
That's
sure
funny.
it's for a serious moment, but
Sorry.
No, so, at which point he kind of scans the room and very quickly kind of locks in on your table and just begins to saunter over. Not saunter, stride. He's
I
not
just
Lesley.
roll my eyes in my head.
Roll your eyes in your head.
alright, let's gather up.
I mean,
Alright,
Aderyn's still got detect thoughts up. She hears the rolling of eyes.
That was loud. I rolled.
I just down my pint.
but yeah, I'll very loudly be like, let's gather up our stuff and grab all the silks and let's head down and get ourselves a room at the tavern.
Hello, friends.
Leslie's going to stand up and then dramatically like trip on the chair and like fall in his way. Is there a way you can do that?
Yeah. The man reaches out a hand and like firm grasp grabs you by the arm and just holds you and stands you back upright. Careful there, friend. How many drinks have you had? I hope you're willing for another round. I'm happy to buy.
We've got a long journey ahead of us. So...
How much has Lesley had to drink? Can he throw up on command?
A pint
You
of
haven't
wine.
You've been
here that
drinking
long.
wine for like the last 3 hours on the way here.
Do you want to?
Yeah, kinda.
Roll a constitution check.
Wait, if I pass, what's
If
the?
you pass, you manage it.
Let me roll it. So it's
If
a
you
19
fail, you
plus
just
2.
kind of wretch.
Or do we
Yes.
while?
Okay. He like catches you, like offers to buy you around, and you just onto the armor, and just begins to slide down the armor. It's like, well, that's
And Leslie's gonna look
not
around
the
like
welcome I was expecting.
at the rest of the group.
Liliana, would you get me a cloth of some kind, please? And you see this silver dragonborn who was with him, in similar, like, but in full-on like priest clerical vestments rather than any kind of armor. It's like, of course. And she like hurries over to a bar and like gets some bartender's attention to grab a rag.
Well, I'm sorry about that. They've been drinking a lot of wine on a bumpy cart. Doesn't do you a whole lot of good.
I can
Let's
understand, but perhaps maybe consider moderation in future. I hope I'm not interrupting your evening. I just am curious of your presence in town, and
Evening's
your
wine into a
early
close.
departure from our gathering at the top of the hill. Was there something you didn't particularly agree with, or just fancied getting on the wine early?
No, I mean, we've got an early morning tomorrow, so I figured, see what the big hubbub was in town, and it seemed to be you and your fine friends there.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Bakanos. And you are?
Bakanos. I'm Ximori.
He's got a very firm grip, and he just kind of looks you up and down. Empire folk.
Yeah, well, I am. A few of my friends here are just travelling through. We're a mix of, traders, workmen, that sort of thing.
Oh, really? Which of you are not from this empire? What brings you down this far south?
I think you can guess that I'm not. But as we were saying, we were just heading out. We've got early morning tomorrow. We've got a haircut.
Find ourselves a room for tonight as well.
Oh, I'm certain you'll find some space down at the hostel just on the edge of town. Plenty of rooms down there. But come, the evening is young and...
I think the evening might be over
Oh,
for some
come
of
on.
us.
Come on.
At this point,
I'll, put an arm around Lesley, come on.
he wipes down his armor at this point after the Dragonborns come back. He goes, well, that's disappointing. I was always interested in the opinions of those who perhaps don't agree with my sentiment. better to understand, as it were. But I cannot hold you here. If engaging conversation is not for you this evening, then very well.
I don't
Yeah.
mind a drink.
Excellent.
Literally every member of the party.
What the
was
fuck?
having- Every single member of the party just turned to Aderyn like, what?
Well, grab a couple extra chairs and have a conversation.
Are you from here?
Not from Sanroy Car in particular, but I'm Empire born and bred, as it were. Raised in the church. Yourself? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, not at all. I have nothing to hide.
Like to hear it. I appreciate candor from new folks.
Oh, yes, well. Never trust someone who won't take a free drink, is what I always say.
Interesting attitude. I'm sorry, what is your name?
Sorry, Aderyn Hale. I'm from further south, actually. I'm from the Laringo Confederacy. Have you ever been there?
I can't say I have. What is
Oh, well.
what is it like down there? I don't suppose you have many followers of the Dragoness.
No, we don't. You should visit sometime though. It's beautiful. If you like beaches and music, I highly recommend.
I've heard that the rulers of the fair city-states down there are engaging quite actively with the various mages and enchanters of that space. I hear wonders are readily invented in the city of Kaliningrad.
Oh yes, they're always doing something. I myself, I'm from a small town, you see, but no, I'm just traveling up here. I have to say I don't know much about the Empire. That is actually the reason that I'm here. You know, I heard I've not heard much, but I heard stories of the Dragoness and the Empire, and I just wanted to learn more. I don't know why. I'm drawn to the Dragoness, and I just I want to
Really? That is not something I've come to experience.
know.
A foreigner interested in our great church. What, if anything, would you like to learn? I'm sure myself or Liliana here can provide great insight.
Oh well, just anything you can tell, really. If you could give me a 101 class, there's something very alluring, about having a dragon as like the centerpiece of your religion. I would love to learn more. I'm very intrigued.
Certainly. Suppose I firmly believe the best place to begin is at the start or end of things, depending on your opinion, when the first Emperor Rethmexiel came down, child of the Dragoness herself, came to save her people here, led them on their holy crusade to cleanse the lands of formerly Fathaline and expunge the fiendish hordes from this very earth and reclaim it for ourselves. Doing so, reminding us that true safety comes in not relying in questionable forms of power and ability. Instead, faith and community is what binds and uplifts us and makes us stronger.
That is a very nice sentiment. Did the Dragoness have any? I imagine she was a powerful entity to be able to, reclaim the land and everything. Is there anything more about her?
She is benevolent in her blessings and covers all facets of life within the Empire for those who wish to follow her. But she wishes nothing more than for us to lift ourselves up and understand ourselves within the community and find our place within her great song. And then through that we can achieve great things ourselves, such as what some of us are trying to achieve.
Do you have certain goals in mind then? I imagine you travel around spreading the word, it seems.
Indeed, although this new path of mine is fairly recent, I have always followed her song and delivered her justice when needed. But this new path of mine, my eyes were opened, shall we say, to the dangers and the sickness that had infested our empire. And I see now that everything I had been working towards was leading me to this point now. Tell me, what is your opinion on the arcane arts?
I can't say that I have a fully formed opinion, if I'm honest myself. It seems like a dangerous subject.
Dangerous is the appropriate term for magic. I don't know how much you listened to of my speech previously to the gentlefolk of this town, but I once worked alongside mages. I considered them friends. That was until it was made quite apparent that no matter their intentions initially, magic eventually corrupts and turns people against those they had considered friends.
So the magic corrupted them? Did they go insane or just evil? What happened?
Their thirst for further knowledge led them to abandon those that they had worked alongside for so long. They broke the harmony of that fair group, not unmuch like the group you find yourself in here. I was a part of a travelling, adventuring party that was sundered when one of them, seeing greater power for themselves, turned on the rational thought that we had.
Did you have a name? Your party?
Certainly. We were the Emerald Shield.
That's a good name.
That's a good name.
We took it upon ourselves to protect the people of this empire.
It's very clear after he says that, Leslie's not listening anymore. She's deep in thought, like, fuck,
Regardless, that event opened my eyes to the corruption that had infested my empire, the empire I truly believe in. And I see nothing more than to open the eyes of everyone else and to find salvation.
Would you say that all arcane users pose a threat then, or could some arcane users maybe not fall into that corruption?
That thinking is what has led us to here. The doctrine of Maz. I imagine you haven't heard of it. Mans was the scripture writer for Rethmexiel during his crusade. Her doctrine very much mandated the exclusion of arcane magic from all practices within the church and the empire by extension. However, over the centuries, doctrine has been adjusted by those who claim to want to improve society and the lives of the people of this empire, but they are deceived. They are tricked by the lure of that arcane form instead of the divine purity that comes from herself.
I see. But more about the Dragoness. Does the Emperor inherit any of her prowess, or in the church? I know that sometimes some religions, the faithful get visions from their goddess and things. Do your priests get visions of dragons, perhaps then, or how does it work?
Meanwhile, anyone not directly involved in this one-to-one conversation, but is around, can roll an insight check. He turns back. He turns to you. I am not in contact with the Emperor. I can't say he and I have ever spoken. But I firmly believe that their line extends from Red Mexiel, so elements of divinity still pass through their veins. I know many individuals throughout our history have experienced visions and boons from the Dragoness herself. Liliana here is capable of wondrous miracles of healing and protection through the Dragoness's own gifts.
Oh, that's well. Thank you. As you can see, I just really want to learn more about this. We are actually, we are traveling through here. We're not staying. I'm hoping to find more knowledge on the subject. If you could recommend one of the libraries in one of the big
You
cities.
would be better off reaching out to members of the clergy if you wish to understand more about her. Since you seem to be heading eastward, Gédothras is a few more days along the Merchant Way. I'm certain you will find plenty of information there, although I will advise you keep your distance from the college in town. Pray you aren't tempted into those magics.
In the very college? Is it not a place of just knowledge serving the Empire?
There are places of learning that aren't tied to the concept of magic, and the sanctioned colleges do elements of this, yet they test the limits of what is allowed. And I would hate to see such a young, impressionable lady like yourself steered down the wrong path.
Wow. Thank you very much for your advice. Well, my drink is done now, so I should probably head up to rest with the rest. But we are hoping to cover as much ground as possible tomorrow.
Should we meet again, I'm sure to continue our conversation and find what you have learned.
Thank
I
you.
rolled a 17 for my insight.
Anyone else?
I rolled a 4.
5.
I rolled a 16.
I have 2 tenths.
Do you all take your leave at this point?
I think I was too busy packing up all our stuff, like all the drawing stuff, being like, I'm not getting involved in a conversation, don't want to punch someone.
Fair. As you all head out the tavern, Togrim and Tauri, if it wasn't apparent, he was spending that entire conversation sussing her out. And he picked up on something. The questions she was asking and elements of her set off a bell in his head, as it were. I suppose a different question to have asked is technically detect thoughts lasts long enough.
Would you have read his thoughts?
You would have got bits at the start because it only lasts a minute and you'd used it on the initial thing. But you would have got a little transfer of just the start of the conversation.
Okay,
A
yeah.
little bit of surface thought.
Just
Yeah, I think
surface thoughts, or are you drilling?
Because
I think just surface because she was focused on actually talking. So-
The surface thoughts is he was intrigued by your group. No one else left early. You were the only individuals who left that speech early, and it caught his attention.
Okay.
But you head towards the door and convene outside the tavern door.
What the fuck, Aderyn?
there's a
I
lot of stuff in this
know
town I
about
do not
you.
want to be.
But I was taught that you're supposed to keep your enemies close.
Don't say enemy.
Well, you're not exactly a friend.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
enemy.
but don't say it out loud.
Okay, well, I think he's suspicious of us because we left the speech.
Yeah, I mean, people on pedestals normally are suspicious when people leave their speeches. Weird he came to talk to us, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit in this town that I do not want to be near, and you talked to both of them.
I just think that if us running off would have been more suspicious because, why would we just run off so quickly?
We'd also be gone without giving them any more details that could put some of us in trouble.
I agree. There's a lot of us here that want to keep a low profile. You know?
I know.
Let's go get somewhere to sleep.
Suddenly, at that point, there's sounds of commotion and shouts coming from just up the hill. You started walking down, and you turn around and see a large four-wheeled wagon barreling down the cobblestone hill straight towards you, bouncing on
Not
the
my
hard
circus, not my
cobblestone,
monkeys.
wildly out of control.
Oh, shite. Okay.
I just step to
Who
the
notices
side.
it? Who notices?
Get out the way.
Lesley doesn't.
Fine.
And is it the gold dragonborn?
At the minute, it's just a wagon barreling down.
Right.
As you look at it, you
Out the
suddenly
way.
see like bits of cargo tumble off the back, spilling out, and like a crate cracking open on the cobblestones as the thing comes barreling down towards you. What do you do?
Getting out the way.
Step out.
Harry,
Out the way.
Out
I
the way?
assume that
Nothing, apparently.
it doesn't mean I can grab. Can I grab Lesley and try and roll Lesley out of the way
Yep.
prior? to
Make a
me
deck
moving?
save.
I'll make the deck save.
Uh,
22? 15 plus
14. You essentially crash tackle Lesley into like some like sandbags or something that are by the side, and like there's a puff of sand up as the thing goes barreling past you, and you see that it's heading. It like careens off and crashes into a building, but all of a sudden and it crashes in. And there's a moment before suddenly it goes up in flames and the building catches fire.
Which building is it?
Fire!
It's raining. It's raining.
It is raining.
what is it with buildings and catching fucking fire?
What the
Can I notice what came out of the cracked crate?
You can head back uphill, yeah. You do see that it is raining and it's starting to like sizzle down on the house. It looks like the dampness means the house isn't catching fire, it just is on fire. This is a weird phrase, but you know what I mean. It's not like
It's not
going
spreading,
further.
It's not spreading, it's
Yeah.
just
fuel is-
still
the fuel is
burning.
still there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I look around for a well or something with water.
Yeah. You run off. You can easily find something to that effect. A well in town. I mean, it's raining. Like there's the rivulets and everything that you can start using as well.
Yep. Stop.
Got to be more aware of your surroundings. Leslie's drunk. Leslie's in a pile of sandbags.
That wasn't my fault. That wasn't my cart.
Well, I know, but you were clueless, and I had to
Carl,
I was
running towards the wagon.
rugby tackle then, but I don't think rugby tackle is.
In a previous life,
It's Titan Ball
I
tackle.
had amazing peripheral vision, but in my alien age, it's gone.
It's been a long time since you were tackled like that, Lesley, by the way.
It awoke something in me.
Yeah. As you're fighting the fire Ximori, a gold dragonborn comes running down the hill and reaches the car. He's like, "Oh no!" Oh. And he just like looks at you for a second, just goes, and then starts to run the opposite way.
Have I got to that cracked, broken crate?
Yeah,
yet?
roll an investigation check. At this point, you see everyone's kind of walked out of the tavern, and you see Bacchanos stride up, and like as the gold dragonborn is running away, he almost like grabs him by the like he essentially clotheslines the dragonborn, and the dragonborn just hits the cobblestones hard. And you hear a crack as the skull hits the cobblestones.
Whoa.
I only got an 11.
As you're going towards it, the commotion starts coming out and it starts getting kicked around, and you're like, now's not the time.
Did I catch a glimpse of anything at all?
Nothing glaring catches your eye, but there's definitely some like wrapped up things there. But as I say, commotion means it kind of gets lost. Bacchanos like stands over the individual. Looks like that reckless thoughts and application of magic is rooted even here.
By the goddess, will you drop it for a second and help your community stop catching fire? I say quite loudly to just the people around me.
A few
Not
people.
particularly pointed at him, but just like timed well enough that there is a little bit of a dig.
Yeah, a few people are helping fight the fire at this point because this is everyone in town is kind of turning up, and he kind of like roughly picks up the individual. Well, seems like it's time for a explanation as to why I stand by my thoughts on the matter. And he begins he hauls up the dragonborn and starts walking up. And at that point, those of you who are still like relatively near the town of Tauri, considering you went uphill, you see a bunch of folks like just look around, like, "Hey, hold on! He was talking to that gnome all night in the tavern." And you suddenly see like the gnomes there as well. It's like, "Hey, no, look, we just met there." He's like, "No, he's definitely talking to him all the time. They're definitely related to it." And like they grab him and like pull him up and like they essentially lynch him. And, like 3 people are holding this gnome. And you see at this point, like, the coat gets kind of, like, ruffled, and Tauri, from where you can see, like, 3 chain links across his neck, just there. Kind of leads down. Like, he's got this weird-ass tattoo, same one as that guy. They're clearly linked up together. Throw him in with them. And they start dragging them up the hill. What do the rest of you do?
I'm going to subtly see if I can pick up any of those objects on the floor.
Go roll an investigation check.
Lesley is gonna shout. Lesley is gonna shout. Lesley is gonna use his maneuver, commanding presence, and try to shout at the crowd in an accent that is definitely Leslie's accent. Where is your law enforcement? These people are not protecting your...
Right.
Right, interests.
Best interests, thank you. Interests. This is not martial law. They are not fighting for you.
Roll persuasion check.
I got a 21.
21. You like as like the crowd is moving up the hill, And Lesley is further down, so Lesley's trying to catch like the back end of this crowd. You pick up a couple of things. Primarily what you actually find is you find in a kind of leather wallet what you assume to be a manifest. Essentially, with a description of the full shipment, as it were. And the other thing you find is a packet, another similarly wrapped leather packet that you have seen a similar design before, but this is bigger. This looks very similar to the kind of stuff that Aderyn bought in Kalketh. What was it? 21 total, yeah?
Yeah.
26.
You also find a oblong box made of hardwood with a small clasp on it. It looks about right length for like a fountain pen like thing.
Cool.
That's what you find.
Chain.
Lesley.
26.
26. Like a few people turn around just like, oh yeah, go get the scale guard, and bring them to the top of the hill. And like a bunch of people run off back down the hill, but also essentially the lynch mob are ignoring you. You convinced the rational people of the town, but the people who are in league with Bacchanos at this point are dragging them up the hill. Do you follow? Or do you go get scale guard or run?
Togrim's kind of interested. He follows.
Togrim heads up the hill.
I'll try and stop Lesley and be like, look, we shouldn't get involved in this.
I do like mob violence, but this is very sinister. I don't want to be a part of this.
I've seen that before. That flame paku.
Aderyn, we don't want to be involved in this.
It was the man.
I turn around and just say, I think perhaps we should head and find some rules. Being part of a mob is never a good idea.
The man.
Okay.
Or some.
Aderyn, the chain tattoos, there's lots of people involved.
Well, the drugs that the mayor was buying in Kalkarth.
Yeah.
Togrim, you've headed up the hill. Ximori, what are you doing?
I'm just still trying to...
The fire is largely put out at this point. You have the option of making a separate decision if you would like. Or you can continue fighting.
I look up the hill to see that, like, the mob is forming. And I'm just going to walk the other way.
Okay.
I don't want any part of this.
The majority of you walk away.
Balrick will do a head count and go, hang on, where's Togrim? Did anyone see Togrim?
Roll perception. Togrim roll stealth with advantage.
Can I get advantage because I'm tall?
No, the best. You're glad you're not getting disadvantage for having been distracted.
Yeah, I know. I do roll decently.
19.
Say again?
19.
I also got 19.
I'm going to give advantage to the gnome in this instance.
He had advantage, so...
You have no idea where he's gone.
Do I at least know that he's gone up towards the mob?
I think you would get the inference that he's gone up, because he's definitely not down the hill.
I don't see. Alright, I reckon Togrim's gone up with that lot. I'll go try and find him if you guys want to just stay back and go find us someplace safe.
Togrim, at the top of the hill, there is a crowd gathered. Not the same size that was there before, but it seems anyone who was swayed by the conversation and all of these individuals in their monochromatic robes. And at the top, you just see, as you approach, you see Bacchanos getting that fist reapplied to his arm.
Okay.
And the two criminals are essentially being detained by other members of this group. Right.
Can I push my way sort of to the front to get a good view?
Yep, not hard.
Unless I'm not going to
It's
see anything.
precise. Bacchanos is standing up there. I spoke about the corrupting predations of magic earlier this evening, and for us all to keep a vigilant eye on the well-being of our empire. But I was negligent in my warnings. So focused on the insidious poison at the heart of our empire, I forgot to warn you all of the very present dangers of magic in our society and the miscare of it and how it can hurt and injure our very people. Fortunately, I was given an example of that to remind myself of those dangers. People could have been hurt this evening, and for that, people must pay. But I seek to enlighten more than I seek to punish. It brings me no joy. So I seek only to punish the individual responsible. It is always one corrupting the other. It is never an entirely corrupting influence. So, of the two of you, which one is responsible for the arcane dangers brought to this town and these people? There's a silence. The gold dragonborn's kind of hanging his head, and the gnome kind of looks up and just goes, "It was him. I mean, look at it. He's fire, gold dragonborn. See what I mean? He just dragged me along for the ride because gnomes are easier to get into towns." Baknos looks at him and goes, looks between the two. It is always those corrupted by the arcane that seek to throw others in the way of their mistakes. One of you will be condemned, the other will be forgiven. Turns to the gold dragonborn, pulls up the sleeve. You shall find the dragoness's mercy, for I see only the beginning corruptions within you. He turns to the gnome, goes, "You, however, are too far gone and are a danger to this society." At this point, Balrick, as you're running up the hill, the Scale Guard are coming up behind you, and as you join into the crowd, you're seeing this conversation. The Scale Guard came in. The Scale Guard just go, "Hey, no, you are not imposing law here." And Baknos turns to him and goes, "I am doing your jobs." And he exposes both of their chain tattoos. Criminal syndicates transporting magical goods should be the job of the Scale Guard, but where you have failed, I will see retribution given. And you see the Scale Guard there are hesitant to step forward at this point, as the varying members of this lynch mob stop the Scale Guard getting any closer. And is there anything you want to do in this moment, Balrick or Togrim?
I'm not really focused on what's going on because I know that better to get involved. I'm just looking for Togrim.
Okay. Roll perception.
Wrapped up in what's going on. Curious as to why this guy is trying to take the law into his own hands, as it were.
Balrick?
No.
You can't spot Togrim through the crowd. But what you do very much see, because your eyes are drawn to it, goes, "As per the doctrine of Marns, the arcane is nothing but corruption, and so must the tainted be cleansed, and the disharmony drowned in the thunder of her righteousness." And you see Reggie, the gold dragonborn, is grabbed, dragged over to the brass spire. A door is opened and he is put inside and manacled inside before the door is then closed again. While one finds forgiveness in the thunder of the dragoness, the other shall find no mercy at her hand. And he literally just grabs the gnome by the head with his giant fist, shoves the gnome to the ground, and in a second crushes his head.
Whoa.
and he just strides away from the body. So must the tainted and honourable be cleansed. And he slams his fist against this spire. You see two others pick up sledgehammers and begin beating the spire, and large boom, boom, echoing noises similar to thunder echo out from this spire. And what you don't hear are the screams of the man inside, as his insides are pulverized by sonic waves.
Kind of brutal.
Uh-oh. They're in trouble.
With it being so loud, I think that it would be fine to do a verbal component without being heard. Would I potentially get the idea that it's that loud?
You are in the middle of a thunderstorm right now, for all intents and purposes.
Okay. I'm going to try to. I know that subtle spell is a thing, but I'm feeling the vibe isn't too bad. Try and cast Zephyr Strike on myself subtly, so that I can move through the crowd much more quickly and like almost get the wind's aid to kind of push people aside, so I can quickly find Togrim, grab them, and get out of here. If that
It's
is
just
okay.
verbal, I will perfectly allow that. That's
Just verbal. It's so loud at the moment.
Yeah, that's perfectly undercover.
I call the wind's aid to kind of, because I'm a large man, but it'll allow me to part the crowd more easily, so I can sort of
Roll investigation with advantage.
18 plus 6.
You suddenly spot the shock of blonde hair that's become drenched and almost dark brown, like across Togrim's eyes. And if you want to, you can pick him up and go.
I'm going to pick him up, whispering, "We need to be gone," and then run off, trying to be subtle if I can.
Probably don't hear him, but I don't fight him picking me up once I realise who he is.
People are enraptured by the events and don't even notice you. And Togrim, the last thing you see as you're dragged out is you see the door to that spire opened up. The limp body of that Dragonborn carefully taken out with almost care and honour. And Bakanos walk over to him and give the customary last rites to the individual as you are pulled from the courtyard. And I think
As we go down the hill, so me, Tauri, Lesley, and Aderyn, and the large thundering sound goes behind us. I'm just grimly walking forward, say, "This is why we don't talk to people who are fucking dangerous."
I think we need to leave this town now.
We should never have come to this town.
And I think there is where we'll close this chapter. So until next time, see you later.